Block sleeving. How's it done? What's it take? You're about to find out.
So what we're going to do here today is we're working on a 2014 Coyote cylinder block. The Coyote cylinder block was introduced back in late 2010, and we were fortunate enough to get our hands on one of the first ones before they were even in a Mustang. So we were able to do research and development for quite some time. So we were learning the weakness points of this block during that time. You know, of course, you know, the crankshaft's real good because Ford puts a forged crankshaft in it. The block, it showed signs of promise at that time. The rods and pistons, of course, are all powdered metal and cast material. They're not going to hold up to any kind of power. So basically back in 2011, 2012, we were just doing rods and pistons, and everything was, people were making, I mean, these engines make exuberant amount of power fairly quickly with just a power adder, a blower turbo, or nitrous. So as we got more familiar with the engine, we realized that the breaking point was the block. No matter what we did, the block was going to break. We tried doing billet supports, and they worked to a point, but they ended up either leaking water or totally cracking the block. So what happens is it breaks at a point where the water jacket and the cylinder meet. It's very thin up there, and that's where the combustion takes place, and it'll crack it and fold it over. Next thing you know, you get water in the cylinder, whatever. So I want to say it was 2013, 2014 is when Steve Dimagirian from Race Engine Development said, hey, we're going to adapt some of our mod motor sleeves to this Coyote block. Now, the good thing about the Coyote block, it shares all the dimensions as the mod motor 4.6 block. Bore spacing, deck height, main bore size is all the same. So by doing that, he was able to go ahead and have his design already done for the Coyote. We just had to fit it into the block. So Steve has been an intricate part of the dart and sleeve program for the Coyote blocks and all the mod motors for years. He's come up with ideas that are just like, wow, how did he think of that? And it's just crazy. After we got with Darton and Steve over the years, we were actually having Steve do a lot of the sleeve work for us at the time because we didn't have a machine that was capable of doing it to tolerance. The boring bars and everything else around town and what we had couldn't get the job done the way we wanted to do it. So Steve was doing it for a few years. So finally we were doing so many of them, it was time. I got with my Rottler sales rep and said, listen, it's time. We need to get a block machining center. We need to do something where we can keep this in-house because we're doing so many. I can't afford to keep sending it to California to have these things done. You know, not only that, I'm working on somebody else's time frame because he's busy not with our stuff, but with other stuff. So at that time, it was time to do the Rottler F69. Coyote block it probably dominates this machine right now as far as when we're doing sleeving. I would say 80% of the time it's cutting sleeves for the mod motor platform or the Coyote platform. And as we do that, we've learned how to do it faster, more precise, and keep a product in here that's going to last for several years. And we got Coyote engines making over 2,000 horsepower with the factory block and only Dart sleeves. So that just attributes the capabilities of having a precision machine to make sure that you have that product you can give the customer that's going to make that power and be reliable. What we have here is the dart sleeve that we're going to install. This dart sleeve has been around for quite some time. As you can see, it is quite an intricate piece. It is a flange type sleeve which has two pieces to it, two parts to it. It has the OD where the sleeve slides in, and then it has the top part which is in another OD which is a step. Now this step in the aluminum block keeps it from sinking down. Now that's what we need in these aluminum blocks, because we all know aluminum blocks, the heat dissipation is incredible and it just wants to expand, and you get that sleeve drop. No matter what, even if you have a step, and it's kind of hard on some of these blocks because it doesn't really have a place to step the bottom of that sleeve. So the top flange piece kind of interlocks in two ways. Number one, it goes down, locks in, then when the head goes on it, that thing's not going up and down. It's not going to move. So that makes it the best choice for any aluminum block. Now on this sleeve here, it's quite a bit thicker. It's 250 thousandths thick compared to the factory sleeve on the Coyote, which is 60 thousandths thick. So you can see we're giving it the meat where it needs to be, especially on the top half of it. That flange sleeve is pretty much on the top piece of it, gives you that bulk and effort where it's not going to pull over, because the combustion is taking place on there, where the factory blocks will crack in that area. It's just going to pull it over and crack it, where that's not going to happen because you have all that beef right there. So the Rottler machine, its repeatability is second to none. I can put that cutter in there and make the cut, and it's going to repeat it every single time. So the first step in the Coyote block is we have to do our OD of the sleeve. It's quite a bit bigger. It's 3/825. A standard sleeve, so this sleeve is probably about 250 thousandths thick, where a standard sleeve is only 60 thousandths thick. So this is quite a big, beefier sleeve, hands down. So once we get that to size, we have to cut the top flange piece. So what we do is we use the circular interpolation feature of the Rottler F69 to actually cut that relief for the top. And the circular interpolation function, it has been great. Probably over 100 sleeve jobs a year on this machine with Darton and the Rottler tooling. And Darton, their precision on getting us a sleeve that actually we don't have to adjust the tooling every time we get a set is awesome. And not having to adjust the tools every time from Rottler makes it a faster process, where my guys are on the machines and they know they can pretty much set the tool in it and forget it. As a machine shop owner, time is money. So as we take this stock block and we put rods and pistons in it, it's only good for around 900 wheel horsepower. That's about it before we start having issues. And I always tell my customers, hey, it's not a matter of if, it's when it's going to happen. So if they're looking to a point to go over that certain amount of horsepower, then they really need to determine if they want to do the dart and sleeves or they want to kind of back down the horsepower. Now, as we do the dart and sleeves, that particular block goes from 900 wheel horsepower to we have guys making over 2,000 horsepower on a factory production block from Ford. That just makes it amazing on how efficient these motors actually are and how much power they can handle after you put the right aftermarket components in this block in order to make that kind of power. Now, in order to do that, we need a precision machine to do that. So that's why we chose the Rottler F69. Every time we put a block in there and we machine it for the dart and sleeves, we know that that block is going to come out the same every single time we put in the machine because that's how accurate this machine is. My guys know that when they grab the tooling for it, it's going to be dead on every single time, and it's going to be repeatable. Every time we tell that machine to move, it's going to move to exactly where we tell it to every single time.
We've updated to the Rottler F69A block machine, which allowed us to deck and bore blocks, you know, within an hour, taking your time. And you can clearance for rotating assemblies. You can bore for lifter bore bushings and move lifter bores around. It really just gave you the ability to machine blocks much faster. In the past, to do lifter bores, we had to send them out to somebody else, which takes a lot of time. You spend a lot of money in shipping. You can't make no money doing that. So.
My name is Brian Tell. Been a block machinist here at BES Racing Engines. Been here for about 6 years. Got about 10 years experience kind of in this background, machining away. This is probably a 2016, 2017 model LT4. Putting aftermarket dart and sleeves in it, the flange sleeve. Well, once these sleeves are out, because that's usually the hardest part is because I mean you're going from the roughly I think it's about 4055, 4060 bore. I don't really know what the standard bore size is. It's around there. Boring them out usually right now it's around 4-inch 240. That's when they start popping out. And the bad thing is since they're cast in, they want to break. Sometimes they'll break the cutters. You know, it's just there's nothing you can really do about it. But once they're all out, you know, they'll usually pop loose and spin. You can get them all out, as you can see here. I'll bore to, since the sleeve's 4300, I'm going to put about 2/1000 press on them.
Okay.
So I'll get the bores finished, and then I will surface the decks. I usually do just a small cut on these LS's. I'll cut the counter bores and That's pretty much it for, yeah, often, yeah, I'll get it cleaned, I'll deburr it and stuff, but as far as that and the machine work, it's a done deal. It's ready to set these flange sleeves that we're going to use. So the sleeve that we're going to use in this is 4300 OD, so I'll bore these to about 4-inch 298. Oh yeah, this machine's great, man. I mean, doing it on like the old style, boring bars, I mean, it was really an all-day job. This is kind of knocks it down to, man, about 3.5 hours. And it's a done deal. I'm the dedicated block machinist guy, and before we'd all get a job, and from start it would be do our own thing, and then but now it's I do all the blocks, all the other guys. We got like 6 assembly guys, so I kind of keep them busy. And usually like these sleeve jobs, I kind of like them because the cycle time's a little longer, so I can have blocks honing. I got some lifter bushing jobs I got to do, and it makes it nice because it kind of does its own thing, and I ain't got to stand there and center up each hole because I've already probed this thing out and got it indicated in. It's just, what I mean, you can just walk away. Same deal with the hone down there with it goes from cylinder to cylinder. I mean, I can do 3 things, versus just, man, I'm boring a block right now. And being able to do, like I said, at least 2 simultaneously and going back and forth. I mean, sometimes, usually I'm just the 2, but if I got, something like if I'm sleeving this and I got, something, if I'm honing, 6-7 thousandths out, I can, line hone something, or, what I mean? So yeah, it definitely increases the productivity, so.
What a day, what a day, what a day. Yeah, my brain is swollen. I've learned so much today. They told us, don't start cars. We are not going to listen.